the Republicans still trying to find a speaker. We'll get into that a little bit more, but here's a clip from a guy, Luke Beasley, and he's doing a clip from CNN where he's going to talk about this because it is just a nightmare for them right now. So we'll watch Luke here.
CNN host Jake Tapper is rightfully fed up with Republicans over their inability to govern and made that very clear during an interview with a Republican congressman.
Skipping this. Come on, Luke.
Appeared on Jake Tapper's weekend show, The State of the Union on CNN. This is, of course, taking place within the context of House Republicans brutally struggling to pick a speaker, a rather simple obligation they are failing to fulfill. And after watching this video we're about to watch, I'll break down, now that Jim Jordan is out, who is jumping in the race and the specifics on that. But first, this clip where Jake Tapper asks Mike Turner, quote, "I hope you don't take this personally, but do you guys have any idea how clownish you look?"
I really hope in the next several days as we come together as a Republican caucus that we're able to resolve that so that we go unified to the House floor and deliver a speaker.
I hope you don't take this personally, but do you guys have any idea how clownish you look?
Well, Jake, I'm very fond of saying that Congress is like high school, but even more so. So hopefully we'll get past this. And, I certainly have been part of the governing majority, and I'm going to stay part of that and look forward to those who are on the fringes hopefully coming together so that we can get a speaker.
I said that to Congressman Womack last week, high school, and he said that that's an insult to high school students. It's more like junior high. Congressman Turner, Chairman Turner, good to see you. I hope you guys pick a speaker sometime soon.
It doesn't sound like that's likely, though. So, and this guy, Mike Turner, in a whole different situation, yeah.
So I'm having a thought that's not really so direct on that clip, but I'm just thinking, Duncan, if I don't go to work and do my...
So sorry about that. So you were talking about if you don't go to work, something like that?
Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to, reflect on the fact that if I don't go to work,
mm-hmm.
it's a pretty limited amount of time I get to keep getting paid.
Right.
I mean, I might not be taken off payroll like that day, because the type of job I have, it takes a little longer. But I only get to not show up to work for so long before I stop getting paid.
Right. Well, these guys...
And I think most Americans can say that. So it's sort of interesting to me that these guys just get to, continue not really doing their job and not being able to actually, do any work, and they're still going to be able to make their paychecks.
Yeah, well, it's the Republicans that are all screwed on this, but it was essentially it came down to they had 9 guys that were running to be the new nominated speaker, right? And it's just been a total clown car. It's been a total shit show. Like he said, they look like clowns. I think it's an insult to high school students. I think high school students are a little bit more organized. It could just be me. But anyway, so 9 guys. So finally what happened this morning, actually, today, was the GOP did nominate a guy to run for House Speaker because Jim Jordan got boosted out, right? So Kevin McCarthy got ousted back on the 3rd. Right, here we are over 3 weeks later. We still don't have a speaker. McCarthy was out. Then it was Steve Scalise that was running, and then he withdrew when he realized he couldn't get the votes. And then Jim Jordan ran, and then Jim Jordan went through 3 votes, and he got less votes each time. So by the 3rd one, everybody knew he was out, so they ousted him. Then 9 guys ran, and they finally picked a guy this morning. They picked Tom Emmer. So we'll watch a little clip on this, but it's breaking news from CBS.
Breaking news. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer has won the GOP nomination for Speaker. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian joins us now from Capitol Hill. Nicole, we spoke just minutes ago, and there were still two front runners. What's the latest? What happened?
Well, according to GOP Conference Chair Elise Stefanik, she just congratulated Republican Whip Tom Emmer as the Speaker designate. So that means he is now the official nominee for the House Republican Party in terms of Speaker. Now, what we are waiting to find out is whether or not they will try to coalesce behind him while they are in this meeting. You'll recall in other instances where we have had a speaker designate, there have been some debates about making sure House Republicans are united behind that candidate before they go to the House floor.
So that's it. So Tom's now, he won by a simple majority, right? But he's got to get, what is it, 216 votes or 17 votes to actually win. Now, he was short like 26 or 27 votes. So it was kind of a lot of people to convince, right? He's got to convince 26 or 27 people, right? Pretty much. So, how's he going to do that? He's kind of a guy where he was one of the guys that actually certified Biden's election. So he's one of the few Republicans who did that. Not few, but I mean, of the guys running. So he's got to get the Trump wing on his board. So he called Trump, asked Trump to back him. Trump made some comments about it, and then Emmer just got it this morning, and then basically Trump went on Truth Social and said, "I have many wonderful friends wanting to be Speaker of the House, and some are truly great warriors. Rhino Tom Emmer, who I do not know well, is not one of them. I believe he has now learned his lesson because he's saying that he is pro-Trump all the way, but who can ever be sure? He has only changed because that's what it takes to win. The Republican Party cannot take that chance because he's not where the America First voters are. Voting for globalist rhinos like Tom Emmer would be a tragic mistake." So Trump just freaking sank his ship before they even got to the Florida vote. So it's over for Tom Emmer. There's no way he's getting it. Not after Trump lambasted him.
Oh my God.
So we're back to square one again.
So I was sort of laughing at the, what was the phrase they used, that the Republicans would have to unite before it went to a vote? I was like, oh, that's rich. They can't seem to unite over much.
Anything. Well, that's the problem. You're a party that runs on government's bad, right? So any job you get in government should be bad, you'd think. So these guys are already. It's just a fucked up situation. But if you run on government's bad, then how can you expect those people to actually govern?
Great question.
It's the old bit from Family Guy when, the dog Brian decides to run for mayor, and he's asking Stewie, and he's like, "Well, who wants to get an old politician who's been a politician for years? What are they going to do?" And Stewie's like, "Govern." That's what we're electing them to do. Oh man. So we're back from break, and we'll clip this and stuff, but we have breaking news on the speaker race. Are you ready? Here's Neil.
Breaking news. I need one of those little things to go across the screen.
Okay, well, we're going to watch Fox News with Neil Cavuto. Breaking news. It says breaking news.
Breaking Fox. Okay.
There we go. Oh, whoops. Let's get some sound.
Majority whip right now.
Right.
Breaking news concerning Tom Emmer, the majority whip right now. The third choice to be Speaker, at least of Republicans, but he's out as well, taking himself out of the running. Chat program has more on that. What happened, Chat?
What happened?
Well, Republicans just met in their conference meeting here. They took a 2-hour break, but Tom Emmer, the Republican from Minnesota, the majority whip, he did not leave the room. He heard from members who were against him. He got 117 members of the House Republican Conference voting for him earlier today. That's a far cry from needing 217 to win on the floor. He was able to get that number somewhere into the low 200s. But finally, he felt that he just could not bridge that gap. Remember that Steve Scalise, the majority leader, he dropped out after 30 hours here. Tom Emmer apparently has dropped out after about 3.5 hours.
Because after Trump's thing, he knew he couldn't win. So he just said, fuck it, I'm out.
Uncle.
Uncle.
Okay, Uncle.
That's 3 guys they've nominated. 3 guys. 2 have dropped out. 1 lost 3 votes in a row.
We've talked about this before, Duncan, and it sounds pretty freaking absurd to me, but I gotta loop back to it. Wouldn't it be freaking wild if a Democrat ended up doing the job?
We could happen because right now the only person who's been close, has been Hakeem Jeffries, who's the Democratic House, who's the minority leader, and he's gotten 212 votes each time they've got brought up for a vote. He got all the Democrats, so he'd need to get 5 Republicans to flip. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't know why they'd give up their power like that, but you never know. And it could come to a deal here because November 17th, which is coming up in like 3 weeks, that's when the debt ceiling comes back up again. And if they don't reach a deal, airlines don't run, people don't get their Social Security checks or their food stamps or their benefits. And now all of a sudden you got people rioting in the streets.
All right, Duncan, let's stop and pull the string for just a second because this is super interesting.
Yeah.
Now, you're not only a finance guy, but a little known fact, you were a poli-sci major in undergrad.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's pull that string. So when the debt ceiling comes back up, what happens if there's no speaker?
They can't do anything. You can't pass any bills or do anything. They can't come to a resolution or anything. Right now,
so no resolution there can happen. Therefore, what?
Nothing happens. The government shuts down. There's no more money.
And so that means a whole lot of paychecks don't happen.
Yep. For government workers, that means things like planes, because was it the Federal Air, whatever it is? I forget what they're called. Yeah, they stop running, so no more flights. So that means if you're traveling for Thanksgiving, you can give that shit up because that's not happening. I mean, we're talking about a horrible time to do it right before a holiday, too. When millions and millions of people are going to be getting on planes or trains and stuff, and then that all shuts down. Yeah, basically everything shuts down. People don't, like you said, people don't get their Social Security checks. Government workers don't get paid.
So really, they need to get their shit together.
Like,
pardon my French.
3 weeks ago.
They need to get their shit together and have the speaker in place before the government shutdown situation actually happens.
Right. Well,
and then nobody can fly for the holidays. People aren't getting paychecks. They're not getting their Social Security checks. I mean, I can't even think about all the stuff that stops you running.
Well, and the thing about it is in the past, the Republicans have always done this when there's a Democratic president. And the thought is, well, most voters are stupid and they don't realize that we're doing it. They'll just blame the president because the government stopped working, not realizing it's because of us, not because of the president. Well, now I think the word has gotten out because they've done it so many times. And Hakeem Jeffries, I think, has done a good job of pointing this out. But I also think that a lot of younger voters now are a lot more savvy because they have YouTube and stuff. They watch videos like this. They know that, no, it's the Republicans' fault. Plus, with all the speaker stuff being on the news now all the time, they know it's the Republicans' fault. So if they do this shit again, everybody's going to know, nope, it's the Republicans. And it's going to kill them. And they're going to do this before a presidential election next year. You could be running ads. Hey, remember when you didn't get your Social Security check? My opponent was one of the guys who made sure that didn't happen. I will never let you not get your Social Security. Right.
But it's such a shit show right before a really big election situation.
Well, the other one is...
You'd think they'd be doing everything in their power not to have that be what's happening,
Well, the other one is so many of them are running on this really draconian pro-life ticket, and abortion is incredibly popular in the U.S. I'm not saying that people want to get abortions. I'm saying that should it be a right, is you get 60, 70% every time.
It's a very popular opinion because, we got a lot of women in this country, and I'm not going to say every single one of them thinks that, but they go, I don't really want to be painted into a corner. Even if I wouldn't personally do it, I don't want to be painted into a corner,
Well, I don't want a right taken away from me, whether or not it's applicable or not, right?
Whether you choose to exercise that right or not, you don't want it taken away.
Right. So, yeah, that's just crazy stuff. But anyway, Tom Emmer's out. So, back to square one yet again.
Yeah.
All right.
Roll call. Republicans, step right up. Who's the next one we're not going to vote in?
Good. Yeah, well, they've got nobody. Anyway, so